everybody. Welcome to tonight's live. I'm Dr. Tammy. Tonight we are talking about the buzz about weight loss injections. So, if you have wondered what they are, how they work, if you're already on them, maybe there's some information that you need to know, and of course, how they are related to hormones. Hey, Constantina. Hey, Carol. My tribe is joining in. I love you guys so much. I always love to see you here. Just a fun group and you guys support me. Oh, and don't forget, like, tap the screen and give some hearts and some love because it just helps the algorithm know we're here having a good time. And there is a little arrow button there at the bottom. So if you guys think this is interesting, take a second and click that and send that over to somebody you love and know that can help. Yay, you got your consult appointment. I'm so excited. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so tonight is by request the GLPs, which is basically the weight loss shots that are getting all the buzz. So I'm going to jump right in. You guys, please ask questions. You have the floor anytime. As I'm writing and my back is turned and I'm on the board, I don't always see your questions. So if I don't answer them, bring them back around and I will get to them as soon as I see them. And my beautiful moderator fiance, who is my bouncer in the room, actually, he's not in the room, he's like somewhere else, but he takes care of that. So anybody that doesn't behave, he kicks them out. But if he sees your comment and I didn't get to it, he'll repost it. So sometimes I kind of ignore his comments a little because he's just telling you guys our website, how to get a hold of us, how to get an appointment, all those kinds of things if you're interested in that. So, and the other bit of housekeeping is if you go to my main page, there's tons of videos, but there's also a little what they call link in bio. So you just click that little link, takes you to the link tree, and you can get free downloads and all the information. And you can also get a hormone test kit if you've ever wondered if it could be your hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Okay, housekeeping out of the way. Oh, I think I also mentioned my book. So it's in the link tree too to order, but there's also a link to a free copy of the ebook you can download. Okay, jumping right in. Weight loss shots and hormones. Why am I talking about weight loss shots if I'm the hormone girl? And why would I talk about menopause and perimenopause and hormone issues if I was going to talk about this, right? And I tell you that your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone regulate your metabolism and your weight, right? So why would I be talking about this? Wouldn't that be kind of counterintuitive? If we balance your hormones, why would we want to use the GLPs? So I'm going to explain that. And I'm also going to explain the interaction, of course, with those hormones. And the plan is that if you are going to do the weight loss shots, that's not forever. And so we actually do have them in our office because they are hormones. So I'm going to explain that to you here. Okay, so we're going to cover what is in the weight loss injections. We're going to talk about what they are, how they work, and how effective are they. We're going to talk about how does being over 40 make a difference in how they work, and what are the risks and benefits, and why are they so popular, and what other options to not taking a shot. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go through those one by one. What is in them? They are what we call peptide hormones. I'm going to break that all down for you in just a few minutes because it deserves a board of its own. It's a lot of content. And then how does being over 40 make a difference? Because your metabolism slows down after 40 because of your ovarian hormone changes. What are the risks and benefits? So pretty significant weight loss. The benefits are it improves your insulin, helps with diabetes. It was actually developed for diabetes, and I'll talk about that a little bit too. And the other benefits are can protect your heart, protect your brain, helps with your gut microbiome. There's so many benefits to them. It's almost like crazy over the top. Why isn't everybody on them? And I'll tell you, it's because you don't need them. And I'm going to tell you how you can get around having weight loss issues over 40 and not needing this. Okay. So the risk, you can, because it stimulates, because it is a hormone and it can stimulate other peptide hormones. We're going to talk about peptides. You can have risk of thyroid cancer or pancreatic cancer, both very scary. So anytime you're introducing something from the outside that you don't have to, then why would you, right? So this is not about scary, oh, it's going to cause thyroid cancer or pancreatic cancer. It's very rare. One of the other issues that comes up is that it is very, very effective. So people lose weight very fast. When you lose weight very fast, you tend to lose it in the face. And so they call it Ozempic face, right? And so anytime you lose weight fast, I mean, I had an incident like a year and a half ago. I was under tremendous amount of stress. And I'm one of those people that doesn't eat when I'm stressed. And so I lost like almost 20 pounds. And like, I don't have that much to lose. I mean, I was like almost down in the 120s. I'm almost 6 feet tall. So that is really, really skinny. But I lost weight in my face, and everybody noticed that first. And they were like, oh, are you okay? It wasn't for the weight loss shots. It was just from stress. And so, yes, we all have stress, right? But this was just a crazy, extra stressful time. And so I put like 10 pounds back on now. So I feel great, maybe 15 over the holidays, but I feel really good. So my BMI is good. Okay. But anytime you lose weight fast, you're going to lose it from the face. It just happens. So you don't want to lose too fast. So you really want somebody who's helping you regulate it safely and watching it and making recommendations and understands that it is a hormone, right? Okay. So, and then the other thing is that since you lose weight fast, you tend to lose weight from muscle before you lose it from fat sometimes. I mean, in the beginning, you lose a lot from fat, but then you start eating, catabolizing your own muscle because it does decrease your appetite. And when you aren't eating, your body kind of goes into starvation mode, but then it will start pulling from muscle too. So you don't want that, especially around your 40s when you're trying to increase your muscle because you need that to burn fat for you, for your metabolism. So you don't want to do it too fast and too much. Okay. Why are they so popular? So, you know me, at the risk of getting shut down, I shouldn't start this early in the talk because we have a whole hour to go if you stay here with me. But I saw this, I talked about this the other night. I saw this interview, it was a YouTube thing. And the guy was talking about all the chemicals that we have in our food supply that are not legal in other countries that actually are what we call endocrine disruptors. Endocrine disruptors act like the molecules that are very similar to the hormones in our body, only they're not. And they disrupt, right? That's the very term, endocrine disruptor. So, what happens when this happens is our body responds different ways to our hormones that help us regulate our metabolism, to our hormones that help us regulate hunger and fullness. And so, what happens when that's all messed up is that I think of it like the antidote to the poison. So, they put these chemicals, excuse me, I get choked up. Oh, I got so choked up. So they put these chemicals in the food supply that disrupt the GLPs. I'm going to talk about the structure of what these weight loss shots are, but specifically disrupt the ability of these hormones to work. So it's like now they put on social media, they put these famous people, Kardashians, whoever it is, you know, Elon Musk, whoever it is. So they put these people out there saying, I lost all this weight on these weight loss shots. And all of a sudden, everybody, and I totally understand that because it is super, super effective. And especially for women who have hit the wall, who have tried everything to lose weight, and their hormones are messed up because they're eating all this junk food and they've got these endocrine disruptors going on, and they're going through perimenopause and menopause, and the things they used to do don't work anymore. And they're like, what the heck? I'm getting belly fat and it's like nothing's working. And so, yeah, so these places are providing these GLPs, agonists, GLPs, we'll just call them GLPs, and they're providing these GLP weight loss shots, and they're great, and people lose a bunch of weight. But the problem is you haven't fixed the underlying cause. And so we do have them in our office because they are hormones. And I'm all about hormones, right? And they do work. And when you get your hormones balanced, your ovarian hormones, I always say it stops the needle from gaining. And most women gain anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds a year from perimenopause on. And that's because of all the changes in the ovarian hormones. And I have tons of videos if you go watch them on what menopause and ovarian failure are and perimenopause. So I'm going to kind of keep that. My tribe who's here, they're like probably thinking, why aren't you going to rant about ovarian failure? Oh, actually, I do have a piece of that I'm going to do here in a little bit. But so that's why we're having ovarian dysfunction, ovarian failure. All these things are falling apart. Nothing's working. And then we have these endocrine disruptors and birth control. And the reason that people gain weight on birth control is because it jacks with the GLPs, because you're taking synthetic, basically chemicals that come from petrol oil, like natural gas. And they have these carcinogen and endocrine disruptors that are causing chaos in the whole system, and specifically the peptide hormones like GLP. And another peptide hormone is your thyroid hormone. So I'm going to get to that in just a second. But what are other options to not taking a shot? So I'll kind of move into there. Thank you. I get all the little love and all the little taps and hearts. You guys are so awesome. Okay, so I want to talk about a little bit of physiology so you kind of understand what hormones are. Hormones are messengers. They're chemical messengers. They're everywhere in your body. Estrogen gets the bad rap, but there are lots of hormones in your body. So when people say, oh, I can't take hormones, my great grandma on the other side of Poughkeepsie or whatever had breast cancer, so I can't take hormones. Because then I'm always like, okay, well, which hormone? So we're going to talk about like 100 different hormones, not 100, but which hormone is it? And then they'll say, okay, well, they narrow it down to estrogen, which is so funny because not funny, not funny. If you saw my video the other night and I talked about basically the WHI study in 2002 that had all these women throwing their birth control in the trash was actually the synthetic progesterone arm that was the problem, not natural progesterone. It was the synthetic petrochemical version called a progestin. And that was actually the arm that had all the trouble in it. The estrogen only arm, they didn't shut it down. And they proved all the things that were good with prevention of heart disease and osteoporosis and mood. And they proved all of that. So that's just crazy. So anyway, okay, I digress a little bit. Okay, so what are hormones? They're chemical messengers. There are 6 main types or groups of hormones. Okay, so I talk a lot about the sex steroid hormones. That's your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, and ad nauseum. I talk every night about those hormones. Okay, so I'm going to say peptides just a second. There are hormones called amines, and that's just a organic chemistry term for the shape of these chemicals. So like the steroid chemicals are a little bit different than the amines. The amines are like your T3, T4, and your adrenaline and your melatonin. Okay, the echinosoids are things like your prostaglandins, the things that regulate inflammation and pain. And then the glycoproteins are the brain hormones because they're made of sugar. Glycoproteins like FSH, LH, and TSH, which we think of as a thyroid hormone, but it's not. It's a brain hormone. And then other is that other category. They're lipoproteins, which means fat. And that's like vitamin D and endorphins. Endorphins are kind of what gets stimulated when you exercise and get that high. Okay, so all of those. Now we're going to talk about peptides. So a peptide hormone is what the GLPs are. And do you know what the very first peptide hormone was? Why are people scared of this when this is just a peptide hormone? The very first peptide hormone that was isolated in the 40s was insulin. So everybody knows diabetics take insulin, right? That's sort of the association we have. So insulin is a peptide hormone. The GLPs, the weight loss shots, are analogs, meaning they act like, in fact, they name hormones when they can't find other names, but they know they do different things. They call them like. So GLP is the like protein. Okay, or like peptide. Okay, so insulin was the very first peptide. And then oxytocin, I talk about oxytocin a lot, all the hugs, the happy, it neutralizes cortisol. It's just the snuggle, cuddle hormone, right? Okay. And then growth hormone. So growth hormone is the one that actually makes us grow tall. It turns over cells so that we can make new cells all the time. Growth hormone dramatically decreases after menopause because all of these hormones act like a symphony in our body. So once estrogen goes, estrogen's amazing, right? And once estrogen goes, now everything else declines. So our thyroid goes, our vitamin D goes, our brain hormones go, our oxytocin goes, our prostaglandins go. And so everything starts to decline. Every process that you see in a nursing home, and they say that's just aging, that is all hormone decline because these hormones do all of those things that you're seeing these people crumble in the nursing home. So wrinkled skin, urinary incontinence, infections, urinary tract infections, dementia, broken hips, all of those things are all regulated by hormones. Okay, so speaking of hormones, okay, this is where it comes. Okay, my tribe, here you go. I got to do this. Okay. So this is a drawing of a graph with, these are your ovarian hormones. So from birth to the age, I messed that up. I got in a hurry tonight. To 100. So this is birth to 100. And during our years up until about the age of 50, we have ovarian hormones that kind of spike around puberty. And then fertile years, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, all the things here. Menopause is just this little blip in time. And that's a year without periods. And I always say, I don't care about menopause. That's just a year that you haven't bled. That means absolutely nothing. What I care about is the ovarian failure that happens until we die because our ovaries literally dry up. We're born with all the eggs we're ever going to have when we're baby girls. And then we deplete them. And then by the time we are in our 50s, the basket is empty and the ovaries retire. More than retire, they just die and shrivel up and go away. So it's like everything in our body starts to die, shrivel up, and go away when this process happens. I've got lots of videos talking about the different forms of estrogen. So I'm gonna save that and keep this a little simple. I'm just gonna say estrogen or estrogens because there's different kinds, but I'm just gonna keep it to estrogen so you can kind of understand the correlations and what it does. Okay, so let me back up and say that peptide hormones are regulated by estrogen. So I'm going to just talk about peptide hormones because you guys are like, okay, get to the point. What is Wegovy? What is Ozempic? So here's where we are. Okay. So why do I have a picture of a lizard here? That's not the best picture of a lizard. I do it really fast. And why do I have 1980s songs? You remember that song, Karma, Chameleon? Remember that one? Okay, y'all are being so quiet. Put in the comments if you like my singing. No, if you remember that song. Yes, okay, thank you, Yvonne. So why do I talk about a lizard here? Okay, so the GLPs are isolated from lizard spit. Yes, I do. Okay, good. Okay, you guys have been way too quiet, and I'm waiting for some questions too. 53, yes. I'm 55, yes. Remember the big hair we had? The 80s were the best, were they not? That was like the best music ever. Okay. So, I know. Hey, I'll bribe you into sending me some hearts. Tap the screen a couple times if you like the 80s. Oh, and put in your favorite song. Oh, Boy George, yes. Put in your favorite 80s songs. I want to see what your favorite 80s songs are. Okay. So these peptide hormones, these GLPs, these weight loss shots were actually lizard spit unsafe. Well, it can be. Listen to every word. I love it. In Chile. Okay, good. I love this. Okay. So we can not digress about 80s songs. Twilight. Oh my gosh, I love the Twilight Zone. Is that 80s? That was more like the 50s. Okay, anyway, I digress. Okay, so the lizard. So they were studying lizards in the 1980s, maybe even before, because peptides, insulin's been around since the 40s. So they've been studying peptide hormones. But these GLPs, the weight loss shots, are basically from the 80s when they first that we know. REO Speedwagon. I love it. Okay. I love it. Okay. So as they studied this lizard spit, they found that it was the structure was a lot like insulin, and insulin is your sugar storage hormone. It regulates your hunger. That's the reason you get sugar crashes and you start craving sugar. And they were like, okay, this structure is like insulin, so they called it insulin-like protein, which is where GLP comes from. So they started working on it for diabetes. So that was the first thing that was approved for was diabetes. And then people started losing weight and they were like, this is really cool. This could be a thing for weight loss. And so that then they started like doing that for weight loss, right? And then it got approved for weight loss. So, but unfortunately, insurance, I've never seen insurance pay for it for weight loss. So, like, I guess we got to catch on a little bit, right, with insurance, but it will pay for it for diabetes sometimes. And one of the problems with this is that these shots can be thousands of dollars a month. So what happened was, I'm just going to digress here a little bit and tell you kind of the history too of what happened was the social media people, the Kardashians and all those people started putting it in social media, showing all this weight they lost. And then there was this big rush to go to people to go to their doctors to get on these shots. And then everybody was like seeing how much weight other people were losing. They're like, what are you doing? And so then everybody wanted it, right? So then apparently there was a shortage, but me, I have a tinfoil hat. I should wear it sometimes because you might like my tinfoil hat. But I truly believe that that was all planned because they put this stuff in our food supply, these endocrine disruptors. Now our GLPs receptors are all messed up. Then they put it into the media and everybody wants on it. And now there's a shortage. What do shortages do? Tinfoil hat, I love it, Dan. What do shortages do? Shortages create supply and demand. And what happens when the demand goes up but the supply goes down? Prices go up. Exactly. I love it. Thank you, Yvonne. So follow the money, right? That's what I always say. Okay. So one thing that happened was compounding pharmacies, which make bioidentical hormone compounds, right? Which we love and make our creams and all the things. We're able to actually get the peptide hormones. And so it's like they have the GLP chemicals and they're not the trade names. We'll talk about the trade names here in just a second, but they're much less expensive. So clinics are able to do that. And that's what we do in our office. We get the generic and we just do the injections in our office for people. Okay. So you'll hear the terminology semaglutide and tirzepatide. Tirzepatide was hard for me to say for the longest time, but I've said it so much that I got it down now. Okay, so semaglutide are the trade names Ozempic, Byetta, which is the first one I learned about probably back in the early 90s, Victoza, and Wegovy. So Ozempic and Wegovy are the main ones that people have heard of. That's the trade name, right? Or if you see ads on TV. And so tirzepatide, the main name you'll hear is Mounjaro. There's other names, but tirzepatide is the other one besides semaglutide. The difference is this is GLP-1, which is what we're talking about, the GLPs. And this is GLP-1, but the tirzepatide or the Mounjaro also has GIP. So GLP-1 is glucagon-like peptide, and GIP is glucose-independent polypeptide. And so independent just means separate from. So it's really, what is metformin? Okay, I will talk about that. Because metformin is what I use as I'm getting women balanced with their ovarian hormones. And sometimes when they're coming off the shots, we'll use metformin, which is an oral form of it's different than this. Metformin is actually a prescription medication that decreases your ability to absorb sugar in through the gut and also sensitizes insulin, but it works through a different pathway. That makes sense. Okay. Was that Trulicity. Yeah, Trulicity. That's one of the semaglutides. Yeah. Okay. So this is GLP plus GIP. So it has a double action. And the cool thing about the GIP is that it can help with the nausea and the side effects that people get. So you get the nausea because it works on the intestines. So the lizard spit, what they saw was your intestinal lining, which also ties into your microbiota, which is your biome or your gut bacteria. That intestinal lining is where that GLP is made. So we're trying to target that intestinal lining. And when it does that, it actually will slow it down, which makes you feel fuller longer, which also puts you at risk for constipation. And if you guys have heard me talk about the story about my mom actually died of constipation. So I'm very, very watchful over my patients who are doing this because basically she got put on iron when she was in the ER when her hemoglobin, she was anemic, and she had dementia, and the iron constipated her, and for days everything was slowing down, and we didn't know what was wrong. She couldn't really tell us, and then her bowels ruptured. So you do not want a bowel rupture, and because it is a peptide, just like insulin, it can cause problems in the pancreas. So they're very safe for the most part, very effective. I mean, we have people lose 5 to 15 pounds a month. We try to get them to slow down because, like, you don't want to get the Ozempic face and everything, right? Very, very effective. But it's kind of like electricity. You got to respect it, right? It's only for a short term. It is only to restart the metabolism. But my patients, I get them on ovarian hormones, bioidenticals, or if they're perimenopausal, we work with their hormones to get them balanced. Okay. Because if you don't get that estrogen balance, you're going to be dependent on these shots forever. Because as soon as you stop them, if you don't have the estrogen that you need and the balance you need, the weight's going to come back on. And I see so many people that come into my practice and they'll be like, I don't understand. They'll come from somewhere else. I lost like 60 pounds and I stopped it and now it's coming back on. So complete hysterectomy on Mon BioT. Yeah, so BioT is testosterone for people who don't know. And I would make sure they have you on progesterone, and I would make sure that they're checking your testosterone levels because I see a lot of women on the pellets get almost toxic from too much testosterone, so they can really push it. How to stop the nausea with Wegovy? Sometimes we always start with a low dose, but we'll titrate, or meaning increase the dose slowly. And so that can really help. I mean, we start really, really low. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of Zofran or Phenergan, I can't even talk, to help with the nausea. But if people are having nausea, that probably means that their gut's not handling it. And then I'm like, you're probably not a candidate for that. And then we might try metformin. Of course, I check their thyroid and all the other things. So lost 100 pounds because of alpha gal. Oh, yeah, alpha gal, that can be bad. What balances cortisol? Yeah, we don't want to go on the alpha gal diet. That's a beef allergy or meat allergy. So yeah, that's bad. Balances cortisol. Oxytocin balances cortisol. The hug and the happy, like loving on a pet, petting a pet, having a significant other you love on. But estrogen balances cortisol. Bottom line. Okay, so I'll talk about that too in just a minute. I'm on BioT and think I have too much testosterone. Okay, Jen, we'll get a kit. Let us check it and let us make some recommendations for you. So, how to order the kits? I know you want to know, right? Okay, if you go back to my main page with all my videos, there's a link in bio and there's a link to order the kit. Oh, yay, Jen, you got your kit. Yay, I love it. Okay. Yeah, anybody who doesn't, get the kit. I always say test, don't guess, but this is our sort of portal into getting people on bioidentical hormones or helping them figure out what they're on and how to do it right. Okay. So where were we? So yeah, the tirzepatide is the GLP plus the GIPs. So this glucose independent polypeptide, this GIP, actually helps with the nausea because the GLP has all the effects of the metabolism and the insulin repair, that insulin sensitivity stuff that it does, but then the GIP actually keeps the gut from slowing down. I ordered my kit. Price is still $109. Oh, yeah. So we still have the TikTok deal. My fiance was like, stop with the TikTok 20. So I'm still going to get in trouble, but it is still up for now. We were going to pull it down, but it's my TikTok tribe. So yeah, so it's 129 and then they pull off $20 with a discount at checkout. So you can do that. And Connie, did you say you had your consult today? Yay! Yay! I'm so excited. Yes, it's really cool. Okay, so how does it do appetite regulation? It does it through brain hypothalamus part in your brain that says, "Hey, I'm hungry." So it works on that. It helps you feel fuller. Regulates your blood sugar, your blood insulin. Thank you, honey. I know I'm in trouble. Yeah, TikTok 20. He just put it up. That's Hormone Bliss moderator is my beautiful fiance. I love him. Okay, I have to get that little plug in. Okay. It regulates your blood sugar by the insulin response, increases your metabolism, and it increases your metabolism because it works on the pathways that actually stimulate sugar storage to go into the muscle. And I'll draw a little picture here in just a second. I'm going to have to erase some stuff to do that. And then it also helps balance cortisol. So you asked me about cortisol just a minute ago. One of the main things that balance cortisol, besides estrogen, are the GLPs. So this has a huge implication for a lot of things. GLPs are not the only peptide hormone. So I want to talk a little bit about other peptides that are used in medicine, so you kind of get an idea, because there seems to be, it just seems to be so mystical, and people are just taking this stuff and they don't even know what it is. They just know they're losing weight, and you don't have to know all this nerdy science, but understanding it really helps you understand what the root cause is, so that you don't have to take these weight loss shots all the time. Can you or should you do the kit if you're already on the bioestradiol patch and progesterone? If you feel like you're not getting the results that you want to get, if you're still feeling tired, if you're gaining weight, if you're having a frozen shoulder, I always say that because that's a thing. If you're having neuropathy, burning mouth, if you're having incontinence or vaginal dryness, then absolutely I would get a kit and let us see where you're at on the patch and on the progesterone, because we might have other options for you. And the patch and the progesterone are most likely bioidentical, so I love that. So if you're happy with that, you don't need to work with us. But if you feel like that you're not where you want to be, then we can definitely help. And I'm not saying that, we would even just evaluate and talk to you, that we wouldn't say, hey, stay with your patch or your progesterone oral. But we might have something else to offer. And the consult is completely free. When you do the test kit, it's like $100 with the special. Sorry, honey, TikTok 20. But when you do the test kit, we'll go over that with you. And that consult is free. The shipping is free. The shipping back to the lab, because really it's a saliva test, so it's super easy. And the reason I do the saliva test, or we do the saliva test, is because if you are doing topical bioidenticals, which is that's my go-to, because it's so safe, it doesn't cause any vaginal bleeding, no breast it's the way it gets absorbed into the systemic capillaries through the bloodstream and the skin. It's just amazing. So that's the preferred method. And the saliva testing is a measurement of the intracellular hormone levels. So again, if you're on the patch and an oral pill, it's still a good idea to do this, even if you don't want to change, because then we can see what is in the cells, not just what's in the bloodstream. So, and we do blood tests and blood spots and things like that, but this tells us what's actually going on in the cells. So I love that. The only time we wouldn't do a saliva test is if you're on the troches, the dissolvables under the tongue. And we could, but we wouldn't want to use the troches for 24 hours because that hormone that might be under the tongue. How much is the test kit? It's $129. And if you use the code TikTok20, it takes $20 off of that. So it's just a little over $100. And the retail is $299. And I begged and begged my team. I'm like, I don't think $299 is I just want people to get tested and see what they need. Is the product vegan? Yes, absolutely. all our stuff is always, there's like, it's all plant-based. Weight results and phone consults. Yay! Sherry's gonna get a consult. I love it. There was another question that went by. I didn't see that. It just flew by fast. Okay. I love you guys' questions. So keep asking them. What else? Okay. I just missed a question. So you guys bring that back around and I'll keep talking. So I have to tell you a little backstory. This is fun. So, okay, this is my fast, like 2-second sketch of a cell phone. I can oil paint fairly decent, but I have to be in this space and like literally I put all this together in like 20 minutes tonight. So I had to do it fast. I was at work till almost 5:30. I live an hour away and I was like racing home. Can you do the test kit in estrogen patch and semaglutide injection? Yes, you absolutely can. And that's the cool thing about doing the saliva is that we can see what's intracellularly going on with your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So we check those 3 things. Do we have to stop HRT to do the saliva test? No. In fact, oh, that's what it was. Okay. So you don't have to stop because we're going to see what's going on intracellularly. If you're on hormones and you don't want to stop them because you're afraid that you will go to jail because you're going to kill somebody. Not even kidding. It can get really bad. I have women who tell me, I will not stop my hormones, because sometimes I'm like, we're having trouble getting balanced. And we stop everything for a day or 2 and let's restart. And they're like, no, that's not going to happen. In fact, I have a lady one time. This is so funny. I have to tell the story. But the answer to your question is no, you don't have to stop anything. We can do it right where you are. If you're still having menstrual cycles, I mean, it'll say in the kit it's best to do it during the follicular phase, but most people are doing this during perimenopause. Their periods are all over the place. So we do it where we land and we just look at what we're dealing with. But what was it? Oh yeah. So yeah, you absolutely don't have to stop. So I forgot my story, but I'm going to go back to the apps on the phone, and it'll probably come to me in a minute. I got like all the questions flying, but please don't stop because I love it. I love it. Please ask questions. Okay. So you know that saying they used to say when the iPhones first came out, there's an app for that. So, I mean, now we know that's the truth. We have a calculator app. We have a TikTok app. We have a Facebook app. We have like anything you want to do. Your banking is on an app. So this is where this kind of comes in because years ago, I thought, because I am super, super pale. I'm like, the lighting in here, it kind of looks orange, which is like, I haven't figured out my lighting exactly, but it kind of makes it look like I have a tan. So, I want to tell you too about a supplement. If you're writing stuff down, there's a supplement called astaxanthin. Don't ask me to spell it or repronounce it again. Just kind of Google it as close as you can. But it actually will tan the skin a little bit. It increases the pigmentation. So, I see people ordering kits. Yeah, I have an app on my phone that shows me when kits come through. I have to turn it off sometimes because they come through so much, and they're like, I love it, but like sometimes it's like, okay, kids. Okay. But anyway, I always thought, wouldn't it be cool? Do you have to be heavy to do the shots? Yeah, because you really don't want to lose a lot of weight if you're thin, and if you're thinner, there's really no point in it. So, yeah. So usually what we say is about at least 15 pounds overweight, but I know even 15 pounds can be a lot when you're feeling bloated and yucky and not good. So I'm very sensitive to that. I know a lot of people say you have to have a BMI over 30, but I'm like, I like instant wins, and let's just get this 15 pounds off in the next 2 months or before your high school reunion or whatever. So I'm good with that. Where can I order test kit? Okay, so the website is hormonebliss.com. Hormone Bliss is my little logo here. But if you go to my main bio page, oh my gosh, you guys are ordering kits like crazy. I'm so excited. That just makes my heart so happy. Okay, sorry, I got distracted because the app was going off. go to my main page with all my videos, and I have so many videos. Please, you guys, go watch those videos because like I love this stuff and so educational and you can learn so much. But if you go to my main page, there's a little link up there and it says, it's my link in bio basically, but under the bio with my name and everything, there's a link and you press on that link and it takes you to something called a link tree. So I have tons of downloads of education stuff, totally free. Read up on stuff. I mean, it's just like I am so prolific. I write books and do this stuff like in my sleep at night sometimes. So take advantage of that because that's all free stuff. And then we have a shop page, so I sell supplements and stuff. So if you want good quality supplements, different conversation. But yeah, the test kit is right on there, or you can go to hormonebliss.com if you don't want to go there. Test kit is a mailbox. Hope the freezing conditions won't harm it. No, absolutely it won't. I know it's so cold here. They're talking about like 2 or 3 inches of snow here. So my staff was all, oh my gosh, what a snow day. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how much snow we're gonna get. But yeah, so freezing is totally okay if the saliva test does. I've taken saliva test kit. Yay, Carol. I love that. Okay. So where were we? The apps. Okay. I'm gonna talk about the apps, and I promise I'm not gonna deviate. I'll finish that. Okay. So I was always like, thank you. So I was Mel, you're a sweetheart. Thank you. So I always thought, wouldn't it be great if there was something that you could take to get a tan? Because I'm a little Irish pale girl. And again, this orange lighting in here makes me look like I'm tan, but I'm live streaming on Facebook and Instagram, and they're all going, "You don't look tan," because I'm doing it through the streaming app. And hello, I'm not tan, right? So yeah, if you ever want to go, my Facebook is Dr. Tammy on Facebook. And if you ever want to go watch these replays on there, or if I don't get them posted in time because I'm 2 days behind on posting lives, you can go to my Facebook page and watch them because they're all posted there. My Mr. Moderator was thrilled with the $20 off. Sweet surprise. See? Yeah, he's a sweetheart. He's just like, you can't keep giving these kits away for free because that's like pretty much our cost. I'm like, I know, but I want to. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised I make any money into my office because I'm like always like giving stuff away. And my staff's like, we like to get paid and keep the lights on. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good thing. Okay, so I have to be careful. Okay. App for that. I promised you I would not skip around on the app. Okay, so I said I wish there was something that you could take to get a tan without having to get out in the sun and bake and get sun damage and all those things. So I kept researching, and then one day I came across a shot that would tan you. I'm like, this is nuts. I have to do this. So it's a peptide hormone, just like these. Technically, if anybody's listening to me and goes back on this and says she didn't know what she's talking about, it's not a hormone. So watching on TV at noon. They found you on TikTok. Oh, I'm actually on at 8:30 now in the mornings. It's on Fox now. They moved me to Fox, and it's on at 8:30. So if you're still local in our region, which is Northwest Arkansas, it goes quite a ways, but go find me there because I'm there. Okay, so I know what. So just when you think it's like the best thing ever, like sliced bread, it's like there's always that little thing. It's like, oh, this is great, but so it's that but, right, that comes in. So yes, it was an injectable, and you saw it with us. Oh, cool. So it's an injectable. Oh, good. Okay, great. I'm glad you love it, Jen. Thank you. God bless you too. So I got it and I injected myself with it, and it made me like feel really weird and like tingly. And I like overdid the dose a little bit, maybe a little nauseated and kind of hot flash kind of thing. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick this out. So I did another shot the next day. It seemed to be a little bit better. And that's why you got to titrate these things because it was like too much. And I did. I got tan. But the thing is, you got to go get in a tanning booth to activate it because what it does, it's called melanotan. And what it does is it actually stimulates the melanocytes. So the downside of this, even once I got to where I was tolerating it, was all the freckles and age spots, because it stimulates the melanocytes, just lit up. And the good thing is that you think, is that bad? Is that going to cause cancer or something? The good thing is, the more melanocytes that you have, the less likely you are to get skin cancer. And that's why people who are of, African descent, who have darker skin, don't really get skin cancer much. So lighting up those melanocytes wasn't a bad thing, right? Because it's not dysregulating them. Hey, Disa. So yeah, so it worked. And then the other problem was, I'm Irish descent, and I have this like really fair, easy freckle skin, and the tan was more like a Mediterranean origin people. So you know how that's a little bit more um, orangey golden tan. So yeah, so it was like, it wasn't me, and I'm like, dang it. But anyway, my point is, there's an app for that. So there is a peptide for tanning. There's a peptide for anti-aging. There's a peptide for hair growth. There's a peptide for, I mean, you name it, there's a peptide for it, right? When we first started doing the compounds, we were compounding it with another peptide called BPC, and that has anti-inflammatory properties. You can do things like sermorelin or imapramylin, which helps your testosterone. So there's like tons of peptides that you can use. Okay, what I was saying was, if somebody calls me out on saying peptide is a hormone, technically it's not. A peptide is technically a bunch of amino acids that are stuck together that make this peptide chain. And the difference is, your body, if it's missing one of, I always get like beads, and like a chain of beads or pearls. So it basically attaches the connector to make the peptide, and the peptide then signals a hormone to be made. So it's sort of a precursor to hormone, sort of like a pro hormone, like cholesterol is to estrogen and testosterone. So just want to be clear that I'm using the right terminology. If somebody's like, again, wants to call me out on the science, because I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. But just for ease, I kind of skim around some of that stuff. Do patients take DHEA and testosterone? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Testosterone. Testosterone is so important. It helps with energy, building muscle. Muscle burns fat for you. It helps with libido and skin and bones. And I did a talk the other night on testosterone too. So if you didn't see that, which you probably did, Carol, because you're like here every night with me almost. Yeah, go watch that one. But we absolutely do. That's a big part of our program. And even people who are still scared of estrogen, I think that testosterone can be a game changer for people. And the other night, the video I did was titled "The Hormone That Could Save Your Life." So yeah, it's a super, super hormone. Okay. So yeah, of all the apps, there are peptides for just about anything that you want. Okay. So, you know me, I gotta go to the third screen because we're running like into the last 10 minutes of our talk. So I'm gonna switch this around. We're gonna take up a fund to buy Tammy a new board that flips around. Yeah, if I stop giving stuff away for free, right, honey, I could actually buy a new board. Okay, so anyway, estrogen's role with the GLPs is that it regulates the GLP secretion in the gut. I kind of hinted about that a little bit earlier. So you have to have estrogen. And when you are especially postmenopausal and you have no estrogen, you don't have a chance in HE double hockey sticks to ever regulate your metabolism. And the problem is, with all these endocrine disruptors, our children, I was just talking to the girls in the office, most of them are a lot younger than me. And they were like, yeah, TikTok, it's like, the younger generation. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, you guys are my tribe and you're here. And I mean, y'all might be in your 30s. I don't know. But, us like over 40, TikTok over 40, that's a thing. It's like, we are not feeling good. We are not getting the information, but it's not only that. Being here, if there is a younger crowd on here, I love that, because it's like, we have to teach the generation below us that it's okay to ask, and it's not okay for you to go to a doctor who's supposed to know about women's health, like a GYN, and get treated like and gaslighted like you don't need it, especially a younger or a male GYN who's like, oh no. And then if you absolutely beg because you're absolutely miserable, and they're like, okay, here's a pill, here's a hormone pill, go away. There's so much more to it. And individualization is so important. Okay. It's my daughter or the kid. Yay, 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 Connie, I love that. Okay. So the GLP secretion in the gut controls your appetite, increases your insulin sensitivity, decreases your hunger. That hypothalamus of the brain tells it to chill out, and regulates your metabolism through the blood sugar control and also through the muscle building stuff too. I got to do that real quick because I want to share this. Super important. It increases your insulin sensitivity, regulates ghrelin and leptin. I love ghrelin and leptin because I just like to say ghrelin. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone. I think of like a gremlin. So ghrelin is the hormone that comes from the gut that says, I'm so hungry. Would you please feed me something? And leptin is the little hormone that comes along and says, you behave. You've had plenty to eat. We're done here. So it regulates that too. Okay, if you have high estrogen, that is an imbalance in the system, and your body will always try to come into alignment. And so oftentimes what happens is when progesterone tries to come in and balance it, then the estrogen will get dysregulated. So estrogen dominance, ovarian dysfunction, what we call PCOS, but it's ovarian dysfunction, endometriosis, all those things are working against us here because the dysregulation is happening. And one day you'll have high estrogen, and then one day your progesterone will shift a little bit, and your body will say, oh, that's too much estrogen, and they'll try to pull it down. So it's all about the balance. Carnivore diet for hormones. I'm not sure about the carnivore diet. I've heard lots of different arguments for that. And let me get this other. I joined late. I started HRT a year ago and been gaining. Any suggestions? If you're on HRT and you're gaining weight, it's not the right balance. So get a kit and let us get it balanced for you because that shouldn't be happening. So if you are in an estrogen dominant situation, because a lot of doctors just like don't know what they're doing and they're just throwing people on stuff, that can be a real issue. So definitely endometriosis, that's so fixed by bioidentical progesterone. It's estrogen dominance. We could totally fix that. How to regulate an estrogen, same thing. Usually it's progesterone to balance it out, but we have to know what your levels are first so we can do that. Just purchase a kit. I need answers. I'm tired of struggling. Oh, I'm so glad, Leah. That makes my heart so happy. The only thing that makes my heart happy, I mean, it doesn't make me happy you're struggling. The only thing that makes my heart happier is when somebody 3 to 4 weeks after they get balanced, they're like, changed my life. I mean, that just feeds my soul. It's so awesome. Can I use kit while on HRT or should I stop before doing swab? It's actually saliva test. So you just fill a little tube with saliva, or where did my little tube go? But you don't have to stop because what we're doing with the saliva is we can tell what's going on in the cells intracellularly. So if we were doing a blood test, we'd probably say, yeah, we want a clean slate, but in the cells, we're good. And we're going to adjust it based on what your levels are now. And then we'll try something different if what you're doing is not working. And then we'll test again and we'll see where you're at. So yeah, don't quit for now. Plus what little it's probably helping, it's going to take, by the time you get this in 2 or 3 days and then get it done and then get it sent back. And don't sit with this, please. I have so many women who get their kit and they just leave it on their kitchen table. And I'm going to do it tomorrow. Put it by your bedside and do it. I mean, you don't feel good. You went through the trouble to order the kit and, just do it. Put it by your bedside. Do it the next morning. You got to do it before you eat anything. Covered by insurance? No, because your insurance doesn't care about you. Would the GLP affect the results? Nope, because it's intercellular, Heidi. So no, absolutely, you can be on the GLPs. I have no estrogen and can't take hormones. Okay, Mel, go back and watch some of my other videos because when people say I can't take hormones, first of all, it's like what hormone? And then if you narrow it down to estrogen, not even the hormone that got in trouble in the WHI study in 2002. It was the synthetic progesterones that shut the arm down, that they had the minor increase in potential risk of breast cancer. But also, they took women 5 to 15 years out from menopause and put them on synthetic estrogen and progestins, which is not progesterone. It's a synthetic made from petrochemicals. And they didn't pull out for women who were smoking, women who were overweight, women who had heart disease already, and then they didn't have any protection for 5 to 10 years after menopause. So there's so much more to that study. So please go back and kind of relook at that narrative that is coming from the people who have the most to gain by you staying sick and not feeling good. So, okay, there's my rant. Been off BHRT for over 2 years. So, Carol, we're going to get you back on right away. So, anyway, okay. Yeah, okay. So, and then I think I hinted before that estrogen regulates the gut biome, and the gut, the intestines, are where your GLPs are made. So if estrogen is also regulating your gut, that's where the GLPs are made. So go back and watch my gut video that I did a while back too, because that'll explain a little bit more of the direct effects of estrogen. So I want to do a little bit of insulin here so you kind of understand. Insulin is a hormone that regulates your blood sugar. And the way it does that, I'm going to put this is a blood vessel here, kind of cross section. These are red blood cells. And then this is sugar. I look like I'm playing tic-tac-toe. This is sugar. And insulin's job is to grab onto that sugar and move it out of the bloodstream. And it stores it either in the fat cells or in the muscle. So this is another plug for testosterone, because the more muscle you have and the hungrier it is for sugar and the more fit you are. Watch party starts tomorrow evening. How about a watch party? Oh, I'm sorry, honey. What watch party? Like for me, every night at 7:00, I'm here. Watch party. Oh, let's see. They're trying to kick me off. I gotta go, you guys. I'm running out of time. They're like, Carol says, sounds fun. Topics for tomorrow night. Oh, okay. You guys start, because I gotta run here in just a minute, but you guys start putting some topics in for me that you want me to talk about tomorrow night. I kind of had genetics on the plate, genetics and hormones. But if you guys have something that trumps that, you just let me know. Okay. So anyway, insulin grabs onto sugar and moves it into the fat or the muscle. And if insulin's not working right, or you have a genetic problem with the little receptors on here, then insulin just keeps pumping and pumping and more and more. And that's what we call insulin resistance. It's not working. And so lipoprotein and hormones. Oh, I just did cholesterol last night, but I haven't reposted it yet. So I promise I will repost that tonight. And so basically, when your insulin's very high, you start to have insulin sensitivity issues. And estrogen helps with, and estrogen and insulin are like very best friends. And to have insulin sensitivity to prevent you from getting diabetes, which is the continuum of insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome, you absolutely have to have estrogen. Libido. Oh, I did libido the other night on the testosterone talk. And if you have any trouble finding it, direct message me and I'll make sure that I did repost that. But yes, libido is very important, and testosterone. So the whole thing's on testosterone, but libido is just a part of testosterone. Okay, so we want that insulin sensitivity. And somebody asked me about metformin earlier. So metformin actually increases the sensitivity of these receptors so that it works more better. Okay, so I guess we're like right on the 8:00 hour, and I'm going to have to bounce. Lipoprotein is genetic. Yeah, so you're probably talking about the ApoBs, which is, I talked about heart yesterday, so I need to repost that one. I haven't yet. But the ApoBs are lipoproteins. They're like a big sack that carries a bunch of cholesterol molecules in it around. So it's like, think of like this sack with a bunch of toys in it. So the toys are the cholesterol, and that's, but yeah, that's absolutely genetic that you'll have more or less of those. Can you cover how we apply the creams, how frequently, how long it lasts? So yeah, so once we dose the creams for you specifically, then you apply the creams like on the arms, the legs, wherever, just kind of alternate spots if you want. It lasts for 24 hours. Sometimes if you feel like they're wearing off, we'll dose them twice a day. But if you're like me, I like remembering something twice a day. Like I do, I have my supplement kit. So it's like the box, it's like the morning and night. But my creams, I keep them in the bathroom. So I remember to do them after I wash my face. So I love micro habits and stacking habits. So if you want to help remember something, you attach a habit to something else you do. So this habit goes with brushing my teeth at night. And then I actually do separate my creams out. And then this one is in the morning. So again, it's my toothbrush ritual. So super easy. Progesterone, we can do that at night. A lot of times we'll do like a combination, so you don't have to do multiple ones. But yes, absolutely progesterone at night. Love it. Um, and the combo creams work really well too. So it's just a little bit more convenient. So I guess it's time to say good night. And I'm here every night at 7 o'clock. So if you guys tuned in late, or if these are interesting concepts for you, then I'm here every night at 7, and you can DM me with topics and things that you want. So I might even combine a couple different things. So I want to just honor what you guys say. So I can talk about the lipoproteins a little bit, libido, and I don't know how much time that will take. So I'll probably roll in some genetics there because I've been dying to talk about genetics. So in my link in bio, I have a freebie in there, and it's my genetic methylation ebook. And if you go there and you download that, you can actually, it's kind of like studying for tomorrow night's talk. So you can kind of look at that stuff. So anyway, okay. So again, get the kit, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, super easy, free shipping, comes to your house at your convenience, but do it right away. Don't wait. Don't set it in your kitchen and forget about it. And you just fill out the little questionnaire. So there's like 80 different symptoms on here. You'll be blown away. You'll be like, I didn't know that was ovarian failure. Menopause, same thing, right? Frozen shoulder, weight gain, acne, swelling, puffy face, nails breaking, urinary incontinence, blood pressure changes, all the things. So what we do is we take your issues, which 100% of women will experience, a big part of the things on this list, because we all go through ovarian failure. We all run out of eggs, and we all suffer in some capacity. Yes, ringing in the ears. Absolutely. There's fluid in the little semicircular canals. They're overstimulated, and that's what the ringing is. It's an extra vibration. Estrogen helps regulate that vascularity to the ears. So absolutely. So all the things, I think that's even on the list. I'll have to double check that. But anyway, so yeah, get you a kit. Go to hormonebliss.com. Oh, I learned that during my consult. Very cool. I love that. My experts are really experts. They do all my protocols. Itchy ear drives me crazy. Absolutely can. Sometimes itchy ear can actually be a histamine response too. But itching is like all related anywhere you're itching. But sometimes it can be like, chemicals and whatever you're using and stuff. So anyway, but our hormone experts are really good at dissecting out the crazy stuff that you're like, is that a thing? So yeah. Okay. So I got to go. I love you guys so much, and go order a kit and get on some hormones if you're not, and all things metabolism, all things health and wellness. But it starts with, if you are in perimenopause or menopause, you've got to get those hormones balanced. So, okay. See you guys tomorrow.